Good afternoon. Thank you, General. I will be giving a synopsis of the full report that the Rhode Island State Police Collision Reconstruction Unit did. My synopsis is 19 pages in length with 15 slides, which we will put up in sequential order. On October 19, 2020, the Rhode Island State Police was tasked with assisting the Providence Police Department and the Rhode Island Office of Attorney General with the reconstruction of a crash where the operator of a Yamaha Zuma scooter, Mr. Jhamal Gonsalves, sustained serious injuries. The primary focus of this investigation was to determine whether the Providence Police Cruiser number 24, operated by Officer Endres, struck the Yamaha scooter, precipitating this crash event. The members of the State Police investigative team worked with members of the Providence Police Department to investigate the circumstances leading up to this event and obtain all relevant information to assist with the crash investigation. In the beginning, I used the word assist. The Providence Police did assist us with physical evidence and statements, as well as the Attorney General's office, but this was truly an independent investigation by the State Police Collision Reconstruction Unit. During the investigation, the members of the State Police were given full access to all this evidence, including the Providence Police Cruiser in question, the Yamaha scooter, the stop sign and post that was struck by the Providence Police Cruiser, Mr. Gonsalves' helmet and clothing, all the photographs of the collision scene, the body-worn camera footage of the responding police officers, every witness statement, 5 videos capturing portions of this event, the police radio transmissions, and the data from the cruiser's airbag control module. As part of the investigation, the members of the State Police investigative team returned to the scene and conducted an additional analysis of the evidence points. Slide 1, please. That is Lieutenant LaRue, who's the commander of the Collision Reconstruction Unit and a member of the Traffic Safety Unit, who is here today at the scene where the incident took place. This image is the wall of the building at the corner of Elmwood Avenue and Bissell Street where the crash occurred. The investigative team conducted a detailed forensic analysis of the Providence Police Cruiser, the Yamaha scooter, the stop sign, and Mr. Gonsalves' helmet, using magnification and macro photography. Please display Figure 2 and 3. Figure 2 shows the damage to the push bumper that is consistent with the impact with the stop sign post. Note that there is no damage to the left front quarter panel. This is extremely important because this is the only section of the Providence Police Cruiser that was out of video frames for any portion of time. Because it was a new cruiser, it was easier to determine that if there was any damage sustained because there was no other existing damage that we had to exclude in the investigation. Figure 3, please. This image is the rear of the Yamaha scooter. There's no damage of any kind that was consistent with being struck by the cruiser. There were a few scrapes to the cargo bar, and they were determined to be old based on the amount of rust on the scrapes. You'll see in the upper right portion of the slide, there's some rust on that handlebar, on the back bar. The investigative team analyzed cell phone video footage and fixed surveillance camera footage, breaking them down into individual video frames at a rate of 1 frame every 33 milliseconds. 3 of these videos were then linked together, synchronizing them over the same elapsed time. Figure 4, please, and 5. You can see on the upper left photo, freeze frame, there are 3 different videos and images here. One from Bissell Street, one from a cell phone on Elmwood Avenue, and one from a home surveillance camera on Elmwood Avenue, all synchronized together at the exact moment that the crash occurred. Figure 5. These images are the camera on Bissell Street and the home surveillance camera on Elmwood Avenue, capturing the moment when the cruiser struck the stop sign. As you can see in the bottom image, from this angle, it does appear that the cruiser is about to strike the scooter, but in the 2 other images, there's clear separation between the cruiser and the scooter. Figure 6 and 7. Figure 6. The investigative team created three-dimensional scale diagrams of the crash sequence to view the scene from additional perspectives and measure the distance apart for each vehicle. You notice in figure 6, 1 second from the sign impact, you see Officer Endres' cruiser approximately 14 feet from the victim. This image shows that at 1 second prior to the stop sign, the cruiser and the scooter were over 14 feet apart total. Figure 7. This image shows that at the time of the collision with the stop sign, the cruiser and the scooter were approximately 5 feet apart. The Rhode Island State Crime Lab also conducted a separate forensic examination of the stop sign and Mr. Gonsalves' helmet and clothing, and it provided its independent findings to this investigative team. During the investigation, it was determined that Officer Endres stated over the radio, quote, "Box this guy in," end of quote. That was approximately 6 seconds before his cruiser struck the stop sign. After examining the actions of the other Providence police officers in the area, to include Officers McParlin, Diaz, and Cabral, as well as an analysis of the timing of Officer Endres' broadcast, it was determined that no members of the Providence Police Department made any attempt or maneuver to, quote, "box in" Mr. Gonsalves prior to the crash. The Attorney General will elaborate on what the importance of that in this investigation. The summary of the investigation revealed that Mr. Gonsalves was operating the scooter south on Elmwood Avenue, several hundred feet behind a larger group of motorbikes. As Officer Endres followed the scooter on Elmwood Avenue, the cruiser's top speed of 35 miles per hour decreased over the next 5 seconds to 18.5 miles per hour due to intermittent braking. Figure 8, please. This image is the data taken from the cruiser's black box. It shows the last 5 seconds before striking the stop sign. At the intersection of Elmwood Avenue and Bissell Street, the scooter turned west onto the sidewalk of Bissell Street. Officer Endres followed the scooter and began to perform an emergency braking and steering maneuver. By activating his ABS brakes and increases his steering as the cruiser approached the sidewalk. The cruiser continued onto the sidewalk and the front push bumper struck the stop sign while traveling at a speed of approximately 18.5 miles per hour, with the anti-lock brake system fully engaged. If you look at the bottom two lines on figure 8, you will see that it says engaged in the bottom right. That is evidence that the Officer Endres had his foot fully depressed on the brake pedal, attempting to stop it with the ABS brakes fully employed. Figure 9, please. This image shows the reenactment by the Collision Reconstruction Unit at State Police Headquarters of the cruiser striking the stop sign post with its push bumper. The stop sign post broke from the ground and was projected forward and downward towards the brick wall and Mr. Gonsalves. During this time, the left side of the Yamaha scooter struck the brick wall in a sideswipe manner. Figure 10. This image is taken 0.6 seconds after the cruiser struck the stop sign. In this image, you can see the separation between the cruiser and the scooter as the stop sign comes down onto Mr. Gonsalves. Figure 11. This image shows where the stop sign first hit the wall and where the left side of the scooter made contact with the wall as it continued to the west. Figure 12. As the stop sign and post continued downward, the center of the stop sign, in line with its metal post, and those two jagged yellow lines in the middle is where the post would be, struck Mr. Gonsalves on the back right side of his helmet. The scuff mark in the middle is where the area of contact was. Figure 13. In this image, you can see the area of Mr. Gonsalves' helmet that was struck. The Rhode Island State Crime Lab was able to confirm that the red paint transfer on the helmet was the same as the red epoxy on the stop sign. The contact with the signpost separated Mr. Gonsalves from the scooter, and both he and the scooter fell over onto the sidewalk of Bissell Street. Officer Endres' cruiser stopped approximately 6 feet after striking the stop sign and over 10 feet from the rear of the scooter and Mr. Gonsalves. From figure 14, let's go to display 14, please. You can see the final rest positions of the cruiser, the scooter, and Mr. Gonsalves, as well as the stop sign. Figure 15, please. After an extensive examination of the scene, the vehicles, the damage, profiles, forensics, the video footage from 5 different angles, and numerous witness statements, the Rhode Island State Police investigative team determined that the Providence police cruiser did not strike the rear of the Yamaha scooter or its operator at any point during the crash sequence. Rather, it was conclusively determined that Officer Endres' police cruiser struck the stop sign on Bissell Street, projecting it downward onto the helmet of Mr. Gonsalves. The image you see in front of you is a recreation of the cruiser striking the stop sign and projecting it downward onto the helmet of the scooter operator. You can see for this to happen, the cruiser could not strike the scooter. This photo was taken at State Police Headquarters in North Central. After the completion of our investigative team's comprehensive, independent investigation, our entire case file, to include the reconstruction report, 1,300 photographs, 5 videos, the scale diagrams, and numerous witness statements, this was turned over to the Office of the Attorney General for their review of the incident.